Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and today we'll be watching another Lost in the Pond video. I really like how every time he does a video, it's in some other random part of his house. Although, I don't know, that could be, in theory, a security risk. Who knows? This is 5 major differences between British and American public toilets. I can tell you the biggest one. For some dumb reason, American toilets have these big gaps along the stall walls, in between the doors and all the hinges and points. And they're not like little gaps. They're like a good inch to an inch and a half in some places. And I understand why they did it originally. The main reason, from what I understand, is they were just trying to save money, so they made them all standardized molds, effectively. That was the original reason, whereas now it wouldn't really matter. And then a bunch of other people think it's to stop things like drug use and things like that, but that's not really what what it does. But I want to see.
Heard the saying, when you've got to go, you've got to go. But for a confused British man like me in America, you have to tread the water very carefully. That pun was intended.
What, you don't like the gaps? Oh, you know what? I think another thing is there's a lot more water in U.S. toilets versus British toilets.
One of the first things I noticed after moving here was the breathtaking disparity between public toilets. Sure, the general odour is, pound for pound, about the same, but there are some design elements and some safety policies and/or naming conventions that somehow got lost in the pond.
Yeah, I'm going to guess the biggest one's going to be that weird gap we have in all the side doors.
That was both a pun and a subtle reference to my YouTube channel. Okay, let me start by clearing up a few things. Last pun, I promise. Americans don't typically refer to public toilets as public toilets. The preferred terms stateside are restroom or, quite simply, bathroom.
Yeah, I've never really heard it called public toilets. Restroom is definitely the biggest one. Bathroom occasionally, although it's mostly restroom when it's in public.
Now, this is in stark contrast, of course, to the British, who famously refer to their public toilets as the loo, while gender specification is laid out through terms like the gents and the ladies. But we Brits aren't the only ones who give the bog a nickname. No! Depending on the geographical location and/or the social situation, Americans will interchangeably refer to it as the john, the throne, the outhouse, the potty.
Okay, I've heard of these used, not necessarily in public restrooms. Maybe it's specific based off of what state you're in at the time.
Pot and the porcelain god. I still have.
Okay, I've definitely heard that last one, but not in a public restroom setting.
But made peace with America over
all right, water level. That's the biggest change. One of the bigger changes.
American toilets, for reasons thus far unknown, come with an unfathomably high water level. For tall male users like me, this can be catastrophic.
The main reason is it helps cut down on odor.
Particularly for my shoes. In fact, the only positive from this feature is that when you have to, you know, do the other one, you largely avoid splashback. You Americans are always banging on about privacy. Ooh, we can't elect this person.
Yeah, we're really bad with with restrooms and privacy. This is the big one.
Because they'll implement a nanny state, or, ooh, I can't take my clothes off at the library, or they'll throw me out again.
Wait, what?
Actually, that was me. That was me on Christmas Eve. Nevertheless, if you just applied that same level of modesty to your public toilets, perhaps people wouldn't peek in at me all the time. That crack between the door and the door frame is like 1 whole inch.
Oh yeah, in some places it's even bigger. It's stupid. It's the dumbest design flaw ever. I think people just kind of ignore it. No one actually really pays attention to anyone to check to see if anyone's actually in it or anything like that. Yeah, it's just this weird design flaw. And the original reason was apparently it was just to standardize a mold. But, you know, over the last decade or two, they've kept it the same for whatever dumb reason.
About the size of my peanut collection. Even the size of the cubicle differs, depending on which side of the pond you are on.
I mean, this one could be based off, I guess, if you start talking about the standard cubicle sizes, that's interesting. I wonder how much bigger they are over there.
It's true. British cubicles do have a tendency to be quite narrow, which can...
Okay, so it is more narrow. I mean, if you think about it, though, a lot of the buildings that they're in are, like, old buildings. Like, way older than the U.S. is, as a country, buildings.
Cause one or two mishaps with the toilet paper holder. But in America, you've got so much room.
Especially
enough room,
in the big
fact,
ones.
where you can more or less spin 360 degrees. Must petition council to implement swivel toilets.
That'd be interesting. A swivel toilet. I don't know how that would work.
Immediately. While Britain is certainly no stranger to automatic loos, it's got nothing on the United States.
Yeah, like every single public restroom is an automatic system. Yeah, part of the reason for that is people just don't like touching them.
Where everything, even opinions, are automatic. People open their mouths and one pops out. Automatic toilets are the work of, if not the devil, then at least his secretary, Wendy.
Do they just not work in your location? I mean, they're usually fine. You just walk away from them.
Why is she called Wendy? I made that up. Moving on. Just because I slightly altered the way I was sitting doesn't give your senses carte blanche to shoot bubbles up my arsenal shirt. Everything from the taps to the hand dryers to the soap dispensers.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, automated toilets are usually generally fine. Automated soap dispensers are usually okay. The automated dryers are really annoying, and the automated sink system is usually really annoying because it usually takes like 10 seconds to turn on for some reason.
Is automatic. You almost have to take a crash course in advanced robotics just to look in the mirror. Usually because there's a robot staring back, which probably says more about me than American bathrooms. Okay, thank you for joining me again for another episode of Lost in the Pond. I hope you weren't too grossed out by that.
I mean, it was definitely an interesting video. A lot of it was, just random standard stuff for the U.S. The dumbest thing is obviously the privacy. When you have major privacy problems, that's which is funny because the U.S. is so obsessed with privacy, and then they completely ignore it when it comes to public restrooms. They're like, you don't need privacy here. Yeah, just let everyone know what you're doing. Whoa, we can see that you're on your phone. Now we can yell at you through the through the wall to get back to work or whatever you're not supposed to be doing that you're actually doing now. The water level one does make more sense though, because that one there's a whole video we watched recently on toilet designs over the years and why the water level was higher and lower in different locations. I don't know, I just thought it was pretty interesting.
But if you weren't, feel free to follow me here on YouTube by subscribing below, and you can also follow me on Facebook, YouTube. This is
Can't
YouTube,
wait to get to some
Twitter,
of the newer
Google
videos.
Plus, Instagram, and Pinterest. And so, without further ado, I'm going to say goodbye and have a happy New Year. Keep flushing.
Keep flushing. I wonder when Lawrence switched over to the newer camera. Maybe it's just the sepia tone messed up the video from the last one. But yeah, that was still pretty funny. I'm glad it wasn't in that weird tone again. All right, have a good day, everyone.